It's Katie, the Celestial Homebody, and today I'm going to be reacting to Reddit and Ribblr's crochet hot takes. I fell down a rabbit hole on this topic a few nights ago, and I was like, I gotta do a video on this because I need to give my 2 cents on these matters. So let's get a little spicy, shall we? I've got my computer here to read the spicy takes, and you guys have to let me know in the comments what is your crochet hot take, and maybe you will be featured on another one of these videos upcoming. I'll give you a little shout out and react to your hot take. So let's get started. First up, gauge swatches are for cowards. I wholeheartedly agree. I don't think I've ever used a gauge swatch in my entire crocheting career. I just pick a hook and on a hope and a prayer, I go for it. I mean, like the worst that'll happen is like you have to frog it because it's, not the right gauge. This actually happened on this girly that I have right here, this giant unicorn cinnamon roll. This is Big Twist plush that I used with her, and I used an 8mm crochet hook. And while she doesn't look like too holy because she's white, you can definitely get your finger in there. I used just the wrong gauge, and it's hard for me too because I'm a mom to a 3-month-old baby. I cannot sit and crochet an entire thing normally in one sitting. I have to stop and, tend to my child. And so every time I start and stop, you can like see in the project where my tension is different. So for me personally, even if I was to gauge swatch, I don't think it would do any good because it would probably change the next time I sat down to continue working on the project. As a die-hard crocheter and pattern designer who then started knitting, knitted garments are generally superior, stretchier if they need to be stretchy, less holey, less thick and knotty. There are some exceptions, of course. Okay, rainbow tardigrade. You're throwing hands. You're throwing hands right now at the crochet community. You know what? I agree. I think that crocheted wearables are kind of ugly. Don't unsubscribe, please. I much prefer knitted garments. However, I will say on the topic that whenever I see a crocheted garment, I am much more impressed because I know that machines can't crochet, but machines can knit. So usually when I see a knitted garment, I'm like, that's no big thing because a machine probably did it. So I always appreciate crocheted garments more, but I do agree that knitted wearables look a lot better with less, I don't really care for the holy look. I mean, I'm a 30-year-old woman almost. I don't need to be wearing like one of those holy tops where I could have a nip slip issue. That's not for me. But if you're like 20 something and want to risk that, go for it. But overall, in general, I agree with this comment. Next up, I hate to be a hater, but TikTok crochet community sucks. Does it? I don't know. I'm not on the TikTok crochet community. What's wrong with them? Tell me, educate me, please, in the comments. Like, what's going on with the TikTok community? Well, actually, at the time of recording this, tomorrow, TikTok's getting banned. So maybe that whole situation will be cleared up. Next. It's okay if you notice you skipped a stitch 10 rows later. The project is not ruined, just moved on. I think that we would all love to think this way. Wouldn't it be nice if we can just say, no worries. For me, if I'm working with like a plush yarn and I'm like feeling it and I notice my finger slips through, I tend to not frog it all the way back. If it's going back 10 rows like this says, or rounds, I won't go back and fix it because it's plush, so it kind of covers the hole. If it's for me, if I'm selling it, then I'll probably take the time to go back and fix it. But oh yeah, if you're doing like a blanket or something, there ain't no way you're gonna skip a stitch and be like, yeah, let's just keep going. No, 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 no. And I know that it is a common thing amongst knitters and crocheters to see your own mistakes, but like when somebody else looks at your project, they're like, it's flawless, but you see every little thing that you did wrong. Yeah, you can't just skip a stitch and then keep going. And with some yarns, that skipped stitch might actually make a difference in something like unraveling and not holding up over time. So disagree with this hot take. Next, you don't have to use the exact hook size recommended. You can go up or down depending on your own tension and whatever it is that you make. Oh, absolutely. Is this not something that everybody did? Does everybody like follow what the packaging says for what hook size to use? You probably shouldn't be doing that. I don't even know how they come up with the gauges on the back of the packaging for yarn skeins, because never in my life has the hook size match what I actually use for that particular yarn. Like I have, let me see, I have a skein right here of Loops and Threads, Sweet Snuggles Light. This tells me, this tells me to use an 8mm hook. There's no way. I would have holes for days if I used an 8mm hook on Sweet Snuggles Light. Nuh-uh. This, I would use 6.5mm at the most. And I consider myself a medium tension crocheter. I'm not really tight. I'm not really loose. If anything, I will go looser, but still 6.5 at the most for this. Yowza, 8mm? Whew. I have so many because I'm the world's best hater. Okay, metal hooks better than bamboo hooks, which are so much better than plastic hooks. Yes, if you crochet with a plastic hook, you are a different breed, my friend. I don't know how you do it. Metal hooks for the win. The pencil hold is uncomfortable and weird. Say it again for the people in the back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I personally think it's like uncomfortable because I learned how to crochet in a knife hold. So when I see people pencil holding, I'm like, whoa, that's wild. But I mean, yes, this is definitely a hot take because it's uncomfortable and weird for the people who did not learn that way. But it's like, that's like saying like you're weird if you're left-handed. I don't know. It's just crochet holding it how you want to. Ergonomic hooks are weird. Yeah, I don't understand how people can put like the giant like balls on there, like the squishy stress balls on their hooks and like claw it. I don't know. Maybe it gets comfortable the more that you use it, but for me personally, no. I don't care for a lot of the crochet wearable halter tops that are tied on by nothing more than string or like a chain. I think it just doesn't look good in my opinion. I also am not a fan of entirely crocheted outfits either. Yeah, like I said earlier, I agree with this one. I think that maybe if you're like 19 years old and you're going to Coachella and you want to wear a crocheted outfit that you crocheted, then fine. But like out in public, I don't know that I would have the guts for that. But you do you, boo. Okay? Yeah, I don't need a nip slip moment out of those little tiny holes. I am a nursing mother. You think a chain is gonna hold these girls in? No way, no how. Blanket yarn and its friend velvet yarn both suck, and Red Heart's colorways always look back worked up. Okay, I don't know what they mean by that they both suck, blanket yarn and velvet yarn. Blanket yarn, yeah, it's tough to work with, the old formula for Bernat specifically, but velvet yarn, I don't know how that sucks. I don't know. And Red Heart colorways always look bad worked up. Yeah, this is a phenomenon, I swear. Any sort of variegated acrylic yarn always looks so pretty on the skein, and then you work it up and you're like, this is fugly. What's happening? Have you ever tried to color pool? Let me know in the comments if you've ever color pooled. I did try one time back before I started the amigurumi plushie stuff, and it was a lot of like math and counting, and it wasn't for me. But that's like the only way that a variegated acrylic has ever worked up in a pretty way for me personally. I fully support yarn snobbery and anti-acrylic sentiment. Yeah. Yarn snobbery, look, it is your craft, especially if you're making it to sell or to gift to people. Yeah, be a yarn snob. And on the topic of anti-acrylic, I'm not pro acrylic. I'm middle of ground. I personally don't love working with it, especially if it's like the really cheap stuff because it splits, and I much prefer chenille yarn, but that's just a personal opinion. That's why I'm making this video. Nobody asked for my 2 cents, but I'm going to give it anyways. I'm going to give you more than my 2 cents. I'm going to give you a whole $1. All right, Ribblr is dumb. This one made me laugh. If you don't know what Ribblr is, it's an app and also a website where you can get crochet patterns. And the first time I used the Ribblr app, I was like, was this invented in like 2009 and just never updated? Because it is so outdated, the way that you navigate that app. And like the way that you search for things, and then you can't, like, say I wanted to search a dragon pattern. So you search the dragon pattern. Sometimes you click on a free pattern and it'll take you to like the Ribblr homepage. It won't even link you to like the creator's pattern. But if it does link you to the creator's pattern, and it says like free for followers or whatever, right? So you click on the like the username to go become a follower, which by the way, it's not clear how you become a follower. I had to look it up. There's a little heart at the very top of the screen that's like offset from the center. It's not in the corner. It's not in the middle. It's like offset, and it's got like this weird box around it. Like it's a clip art that they put in. So you have to click on the heart to favorite their shop, and then you can download the free pattern. But if they have other patterns that you're interested in, there's no way of going back to their profile unless you memorize what their profile is and type it into the username and type it into the search box. It's just, I could go on a rant about Ribblr and how much it needs to be updated, but I wholeheartedly agree. Ribblr is dumb, although they do have some good free patterns on there, but I would much rather get my free patterns from Instagram or anywhere else. If someone can figure out how to somewhat replicate something you've made without buying your pattern, then you're not allowed to be mad at it. Ooh, hands up in the comments if you're a pattern designer. Ooh, I think I agree with this one. I do. This is a very fine line though, because I agree that if you're creating something super simple, like a chicken pattern, for example, okay, it's not difficult. You do a magic ring and then however many rounds of increases and then however many single crochet rounds, and then you sew it together and add the comb and the beak and the eyes. That's, you know, that's it. So it's like the makers of the Mabel chicken pattern, I don't think have any right to be upset if all of these other free patterns are coming out with things that are very similar, because it's not difficult to figure out how to do it just looking at a picture of a Mabel chicken, right? On the other hand, if you look at a water lily in real life and then try to make a pattern about it, the chances of 2 people making like the same exact pattern for that object are very, very low. I feel like it would be evident if one person looked at somebody else's crochet pattern of the water lily and then did their own take on it and then came out with like a free pattern. That I feel like is a little sketchy, but that would be easy to tell, I feel like, because again, the chances of 2 people looking at a real life item and then being like, this is the crochet pattern, and then being almost identical, that chances of that are slim. So Yeah, I agree. You can't really be mad about it if somebody comes out with a free pattern that's very similar to yours, if it's a super duper easy thing that really anybody could figure out how to do. People should consider their skill level and experience before selling their work. Oh my goodness, yes. I am a part of so many like crochet vendor pages on Facebook, and the amount of times that I see people who are new to crocheting trying to be like, why am I not getting any sales? Or like, I'm doing my first show, give me feedback, that their work is just, I don't want to be mean, but I'm going to be mean. The chances of them watching this are probably very low, but they're just atrocious. Like, they've got stuffing coming out. Their tension is like so unbelievably wonky, where it's like so tight at the bottom of their piece, and then they have holes this big going up to the top of it, and like the stuffing is sticking out, and their eyes are like completely crooked. I've even seen some where they're trying to sell their amigurumi, but they made it inside out because they didn't know like which way the stitches were supposed to go. So like their Mabel chicken, for example, is literally the inside of the work on the outside. So yeah, I mean, I think that anybody has a place in crochet and selling it at markets and stuff, but it's essential to consider your skill level before you try to sell it, because to be honest, it makes all other crocheters look bad, because you know, people come up to your booth and they're like, yeah, I bought a crochet item at it, like from somebody else at a different market, and it just fell apart and it has stuffing coming out and it was just a disaster. And then that deters them from wanting to buy something from you who has like really high quality items. So wholeheartedly agree with this. Don't be selling your crochet if you have not gotten it like quality tested by general public. I think that would be my advice. Pulling from the center of your yarn is dumb. Oh, nah, girl, you just jelly. You just jelly. If you can get a center pull, love it. Although sometimes you do get the yarn barf, but that's fine. You know, it typically, yarn barf is not difficult to untangle. You just do a little of this and then it comes apart. So I think this person was just jealous. Although when you work with chenille yarn, very rarely do you get a nice center pull, unfortunately. But with acrylic or cotton, you can get some nice smooth center pulls. Love it. Magic circle is overrated garbage. Yeah, I agree with this one. As a amigurumi crocheter, it is essential that you know how to do a magic circle, but you're also probably working with fluffy yarn. And if you've ever tried to close a magic circle with fluffy yarn, that stuff breaks quicker than my patience. Okay? I am a chain 2 crochet into the first chain kind of girl, and when I crochet into that first chain, I make sure that I keep it like, I keep my tension so tight so that it reduces the amount that I have to pull that ring closed. And I don't play games when it comes to the magic ring. My husband crochets too, and he always does magic ring, and it blows my mind. I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Most of the time, though, he's cursing under his breath because his yarn breaks when he tries to pull it close. So I just say, haha, do it my way. Yeah, overrated garbage, yeah. Essential, but there's another way to do it that's easier. Did I just ruffle some feathers with that one? The speed of which you crochet shouldn't matter, not should you feel that you need to go as fast or crochet a specific way because everyone else does. Do what's comfortable and right for you. I hate the videos of people that are showing off how fast they can crochet and look at the camera with a smirk on their face, like, proud of you for the skill, but people set the standard onto others. Now, I don't know that I have ever seen a video of somebody crocheting fast and being like, I don't think I've ever seen that personally. Yeah, I agree with this. I mean, it doesn't matter how fast you go, it's the finish line, right? Did we all learn the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? In elementary school? Yeah, don't, you know, plus people who crochet fast, I don't know. I feel like that leads more to like the arthritis and like the tendonitis issues if you're like moving that fast. I don't know. I consider myself a fast crocheter, but I would never be like, look at how fast I can go. I don't know. I don't know. What else did they say? The videos showing off. Okay. One thing though, I cannot, for the life of me, not look while I'm putting my hook into the next stitch. Like, I would love to be able to like sit here and like talk about this while I'm crocheting with you guys, but I can't look at the camera. I would have to be looking down, and like I can do like the whole yarn over, pull through and everything, not looking. Like if I'm watching TV, I will have to look to insert it into the next stitch to make sure that I'm actually going into the right stitch and getting both loops on the hook. And then I can look up and engage in whatever I'm doing, conversation or whatever, and do the rest of the single crochet. But I wish I could be one of those girls that could just have a chit chat while crocheting fully. That's not me. Maybe one day I'll get there, but not now. Okay, maybe I just don't like how to work with it properly, but I hate acrylic yarn. Also, I'm really sorry about this one. Most granny squares just aren't very pretty. Here's another one about acrylic yarn. We've already talked about this, but let's discuss the granny square situation. I agree. I think granny squares are kind of ugly. Which is very odd coming from me because I love vintage things. I love the 70s and 80s. Like I've talked before on my channel about how much I love the geese wearing the little blue bows. Love that kind of stuff. So you'd think that I would love like granny square cardigans and things because they're very much like the 70s era. But I just don't think that they're cute. But maybe I'm a little bit biased negatively because I can't for the life of me crochet a granny square. I know it's normally people's first thing that they ever crochet. But the first thing I ever crocheted was an amigurumi bunny. And I then tried doing the flat crochet and it just didn't work out for me. So maybe I'm just skewed negatively toward that. I think that it can't, like granny squares can be pretty, but they have to be in a very specific like color palette. I don't know. I'm going to get some hate on this one. That's okay. You can cancel me in the comments. Go for it. I know I'm in hot water here. My hot take is some things should not be paid patterns. For example, the other day I was looking around on Ribblr when I saw a $3 pattern for a tube. Now I understand designing is hard sometimes, but come on. Also, bees, snakes, frogs, simple body shapes that have been repeated over and over should not be paid patterns. I agree and disagree on this one. I just say both because yes, I agree, but also there are so many free patterns of like whatever it is that you're looking for that's not a super complicated thing, like they said, you know, the bees, the snakes, whatever, that it's like you don't have to go and spend $3. You know what I mean? Like you can find a free version. And for the pattern creator, like sure, get your $3, you know? I don't know how many sales they're getting. But yeah, I think I agree on this one. They shouldn't be paid patterns, but at the same time, I don't fault the pattern creators for the wanting to make a buck. On the topic of granny squares, I literally have no clue how to make a granny square look right, but I'm also not a fan of the ones with like a bunch of clashing colors like green and neon orange, white, etc. Yeah, like we talked about, it's got to be the right colors. It's got to be the right pattern. Oh, this one's throwing some shade here. Crochet's Critters. My hot takes are making clothing is way more fun than amigurumi? Excuse me? I mean, that's your opinion. That's why it's a hot take. Amigurumi is so much more fun. The yarn is so much softer. There's a lot of different parts that, like, you know, you change up, like, what you're doing. You can, like, the amount of critters and stuff are endless that you can make with clothing. It's like there are only so many pieces of clothing that you can make to cover up your body, right? Disagree. hard disagree on this one. Natural fibers are better to crochet with. I can't really speak on this one. I'm not bougie enough to be buying natural fibers, so sure, I guess so. In theory, they would probably be better to crochet with, but have never had the opportunity to do so. Slip stitch and chain one is unnecessary for amigurumi. There, I said it. Bulldog crochets. I'm happy that we had two hot takes on both sides, right? We had the one that didn't like the magic ring and thought it was overrated, and then we have this one that thinks it's unnecessary to do a slip stitch chain one. So let me know what you do in the comments. Which one are you? Are you the Jets or the Sharks? Which side are you on? I hope you got that reference. Next is, you can literally slow down or pause the video if you're a beginner. You don't have to call out and attack the creator. Oh my gosh, the amount of times that I have seen this in the comments of a tutorial video being like, people saying, slow down, you're going way too fast. Can you make another video that's slower? I'm like, come on. Just hit the slow down button. You know, you can go into settings. If you don't know this, I'm teaching you something. Look, this is an educational channel, okay? Go into the video settings, the little gear icon, and then you can click speed, and then you can either speed it up or you can slow it down. Just put it on like half speed, and then they'll go a lot slower for you. It always cracks me up when people say that. Like, don't be going at the creator. My goodness. My hot take is that video-only patterns should be illegal. Ooh, this is some harsh language here. I like to read my pattern. I like to have a video to assist me if I get stuck, but I want the written instructions. If there are none, count me out. Even if they are given in the video as boxes, I hate having to scroll back and forth to find specific stuff in a video like that. I agree, and I make videos on this channel. If you have not seen any of my tutorials, I do make video tutorials, and I do put like what I'm doing on the screen so that it's a little bit easier to find it along the way. But yeah, if I click on a tutorial and there is no like words on the screen about what they're doing, then I'll be like, I don't want to have to listen to the video. I don't want to have to scroll back and forth to figure it out. Typically what I'll do is only use tutorials that have the words on the screen with what they're doing, you know, single crochet 6, decrease 1, etc. And I will go through the video set on 2 times speed, and I will write down each instruction, and then I'll say sayonara to the video, and I'll just use my written instruction. And then if I get stuck somewhere along the way, then I'll re-reference the video again. But that's typically what I do. I 100% agree on this. Now, if they should be illegal, probably not. As a teacher, I am very aware of the fact that everybody has different learning styles. So there are some people who don't like the written and only want the talking and the visuals. So I don't think it should be illegal. But for me personally, yeah, I don't vibe with that. And lastly, I would rather wade through yards of banner ads on a blog post than watch a 20-second tutorial video. Ending strong on the same concept. A lot of y'all out there don't like the tutorial videos, do you? My goodness. Well, that is all that I have for you today, my friends. Let me know in the comments what your unpopular crochet opinion is, and I will plan on doing another one of these videos in the near future. And also, let me know your opinions on these as well. Duke it out with me in the comments. Let's go. I'll fight you on these, all right? Don't forget to subscribe. Click my face right there. There you go. Poke it. Right there, give me a subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.